guys, today we're going to be talking about a specific kind of ritual I do over New Year's and on my birthday, and I thought I would talk about it since my birthday was just a few days ago, and I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years now, I think since I was 21. I do this ritual on New Year's and my birthday, like I said, and a few people recently have been asking me about this, and so I thought I would do a video kind of explaining what I do. For any of you who don't know, I do practice witchcraft. I wouldn't identify specifically as a witch, but I do use aspects of witchcraft in my manifesting practice and for releasing and rebirthing. So this is something that I found very therapeutic, and so I thought I'd kind of take you through it a little bit. I did think about doing this for a while, but I kind of held off because I find ritual practice to be very personal, and so I'm not going to show you guys the altar I usually use, but I will tell you kind of like what happened this time and like some of the differences during other times. Every time I do one of these rituals, it's different. Different information comes through, obviously, but it's always different depending on what year it was and all of that. So I'm going to kind of take you through step by step of what I do, the general ritual I do, and then I'll give you kind of some things where it was different. So if you like this video and you would like to see more videos like this, please hit the like button and hit subscribe if you'd want to see more videos. You can also check out my other social media accounts down in the description below. I have my Instagram, my Facebook page, and I don't know if my website's in there. I haven't really had my website up like going, but I also have a GoFundMe which you can donate to if you would like to help me produce my content or work on my projects. I'm working on a couple books and an oracle deck right now, so I'm super excited about that. Also, if you would like a personal tarot reading with me, or you would like to check out my clothing line or my crystal jewelry, you can check out my Etsy shop down below as well. Alright, so let's get on to the video. Alright, so just to give you some background about where this ritual came from for me, I was intuitively guided to do this ritual. I think it was for my 21st birthday. This was before I'd actually started practicing witchcraft, so my ritual has changed a little bit in like how I do it exactly, but it's the same general idea as when I started. Basically, I was just feeling like so much had changed that I wanted to just sit in gratitude for the past year and release what was no longer something I wanted to be attached to, and then to bring in the new year with gratitude and creation and tapping into my guides to see what would be happening for the next year and just to set intention. So like I said, I do this at New Year's and on my birthday, which is really great because my birthday is in May, so it's not quite half year intervals, but it's pretty close. And I see those as my two like real like shifting things. You know, like we see our years in birthdays, but then also, you know, like the new year. So that's why I do that. So first I will probably around 11:30 at night, I will set up an altar. I have my mother has a small low table in her living room that I set up with crystals. You know, the crystals I'm drawn to use for this specific ritual, they change every time. I'll also light some candles, or I'll have some candles there. Whatever just really feels good for the altar. For any of you who do altars, you know that they change very frequently, and so it's really just intuitively what I feel I'm drawn to use at this time. The only time I haven't done this like with an altar was the 2016 New Year, where I was actually at a festival, and so it was definitely a bit different. But after New Year's happened, because it was like a whole thing over like when it like actually shifted, I went over and walked over to this rainbow tree, which was this tree that was lit up with all these rainbow colors, and I sat down and talked to my guides, that was really, really powerful. And if you guys want to know more about that, I'm actually writing a book about my year in Australia, so when I get that published, you guys will be able to see more about that. But anyway, that's a long time coming. But that will be definitely in my book. So but most of the time I do have an altar, and so I'll set it up very intuitively. Sometimes I'll have cleansing oils, and that's more of just kind of a setting up the space. There's a few different things I do in order when I do one of these rituals. So it starts off probably around like 10-15 minutes before midnight. I will light my candles. I usually have 2 candles, and then I have 1 major candle. My major candle is a candle that I continually burn off and on, you know, like it's an ongoing manifesting candle. So when I use the tea lights, I usually like to let them burn out because that's how the intention is set. But my manifesting candle, I will blow out, and I use that continually during different practices. So I will light my manifesting candle, which is a big white candle. You know, I set the intention for the space, you know, love, light, openness, release, whatever it is that I feel, I set that intention in the candle. And if you guys are interested in candle magic, please comment down below. I can do a whole video on that by itself. But then I also set the tea candles, however many I feel, with littler intentions, just for the energy that I want. So I set those. And then what I'll do is I usually set meditation music on, and I will just kind of almost like crouch down in front of my altar, and I will just like really earth into the earth, ground into the earth rather, and I will just start saying out loud what I'm grateful for and really releasing the past year, you know, thank you for this, thank you for that. I release all the things that no longer serve me. I release maybe this trauma, or I release this experience, you know, I'm releasing it back into the earth. I'm now closing up this year, that kind of thing. And I'll really get into it, and I really get into my body, and I really just release all the things that I'm ready to close up for this year. And even if it's like a situation, like something that's going on like this year, like, you know, that I'm continuing into, I'll say, all right, that was that year. I'm now moving into a new space with that thing, or I'm moving into a new experience with that thing. I'm reopening this and honoring this thing, but I'm closing off that part of it, and I'm opening up into a new space. So at this point, I will, I don't check the clock. I just intuitively shift over into this, but I always make sure the ritual lasts long enough so that by the end of the ritual, it is now stepped into my birthday or the new year, so that I do this ritual over, you know, during the crossover. I mean, I guess technically I could do it over the hour I was born, which was 2 in the afternoon, but there's something about that day. I love doing these rituals at night, so I really just like doing the midnight thing. So after that, I will then sit down and I say, thank you for this new year. I'm, you know, really, you know, I just bring in the new year with gratitude, and I just start thinking about what it is that I want to experience in this new space. So then I will take a piece of paper. I try to do like nice paper. This is another sheet of paper that I didn't use. I had a few pieces of paper, so I thought I'd just show you guys. It's this pretty pink paper, and what I'll do is I'll set an intention. Now, because of witchcraft, I would consider this a spell or a setting of an intention. So, you know, at the top I say, I'm paraphrasing here. I manifest all that I want. It is so. It is done. And then I list all the things I want to manifest into my life, all the energy that I want to bring in. It could be specific things, or just as simple as I want to bring in love, I want to bring in abundance, whatever. But the idea is to be very, very clear as to what you want, very simple. And then at the bottom I say, you know, I manifest all I want. It is so. It is done. And then what I do is I read it out loud, and I just very calmly, but with feeling, I think about each thing I want to manifest, and I really feel it within my body. So then I fold it up, and this year I put some crystals on it and put some Reiki into it, an intention of this is happening. Again, paraphrasing, it's really important that if you guys do this ritual, that you put your own flavor and spin on it. Like whatever feels good to you, that's what you should be doing. But this is just what I do. So I put the crystals on it. Oh, I forgot to mention, before I do the releasing, I saged everything. That's very important. I saged the room, I saged the altar space, and so the sage was still burning at this point. So I took the folded up piece of paper with my intention on it, and I saged it, and then I put the energy into it, and I just blessed it. And then what I did was, I have a fireplace in my living room, and I lit it on fire in the fireplace. Of course, you guys, if you're using fire, candles, whatever, be very careful. So I lit it on fire, and or if you're young, ask for a parent's help. I'm assuming the people watching this are a bit older. But I fold it up in my fireplace very carefully. I light it on fire, and I say, as it's on fire, I say, I release this to the universe. I put this intention out. This energy is now being released into the universe. And I light it on fire, and when it's really getting going, I just put it in the fireplace, and I let it burn completely. That's really important if you're feeling like you really want to set this intention, it's important that the whole thing burns. Obviously the ash will be there, but that's really important that you set that. So just let it go, and then as it burns, you know, just feel into that space. All right, so after that, what I do is I will then pull cards. Sometimes I pull tarot cards, but typically I'll pull oracle cards because I'm not really interested in a whole reading. I find that tarot is more like the now or the current future, and I find oracle cards are much better for tapping into the more cosmic slash healing spiritual energy. So typically I'll do oracle cards. So this year I pulled cards, and the decks changed, but since I received this deck, which is the Mayan Oracle deck, Mayan Oracle cards? Yeah. A Galactic Language of Light, the Mayan Oracle. Since I received this deck, I have pretty much used it for every releasing and rebirthing ritual that I've done. Any big rituals, I will use this deck. It's one of my favorites. Peter gave it to me. He's very much into the Mayan calendar and Mayan time signs and how all the synchronicity of the Mayans work. So this deck is from that whole system. So I pulled 3 cards from this. Well, actually I pulled 2. I pulled Greater Cycles, and it was interesting. I went to look it up, and I started reading the thing, thinking it was Greater Cycles, but it ended up being Manifesting, which was the page after it, and I was like, that's really interesting. So I was like, well, there's got to be a reason that I just started reading it. Like, there's no coincidences. So I read Greater Cycles, which is like 2 or 3 pages. It's in this really big book that comes along with the deck. So each card has several pages on it. So I read Greater Cycles, and then I read Manifesting, and then I pulled the Star card, which was really interesting because even though this year the Star is not my time, like my sign, the sign I was born under, which is Yellow Resonance Star, so my sign is the Star, even though this year I'm a red something Skywalker. Yeah, I forget what Skywalker it is, but I pulled the Star, and I thought that was really interesting, and it's about being a star seed and all this stuff. I was like, wow. Like, I hadn't really like fully delved into that sign yet. There's like 7 or 8 pages for the Star, and so I read all of them. It was so on point. This deck is unbelievably on point. There is a whole system. There's tons of books on it. If you want there is an app to tell you what sign it is for the day and all that, and I believe that's the 1320 Sync. SYNC, like synchronicity, and that's the app. Me and my Mariel use it, and so does Peter, so that's really a great app. So anyway, so I used this deck, and it was so on point, like always. So I pulled cards from that, and then I pulled a card from the Universal Love Oracle by Tony Carmine Salerno. I picked one. I picked Miracles, and again, totally on point. So what I then do is I will pull out my journal. This is my journal. This is also art by Tony Carmine Salerno, and I journal all the time. And I opened it up, and I'm not going to show you guys, but I wrote down the cards I got and all of that. Now this year, interestingly enough, I didn't do a lot of journaling, and I found this very interesting. I actually found the cards really were enough information for me this year. I felt that was good, but something I usually do, and I'm actually surprised I didn't do it this year, but I just didn't feel into it. And I think that's because I'm much more connected to my guides on a regular basis, so I didn't feel it was as necessary. But usually after I pull the cards, I will step into a meditative state, and I will tap into my guides, and I'll say, all right, what are we doing for this year? And they will have a whole download for me, and I will usually journal it. But like I said, I am in touch with my guides pretty much daily now, so I feel like that's why I wasn't as drawn to do that. So, but usually when I get a big download, I will do a whole journal session. I can write 4, 5, 6 pages sometimes on those downloads, but I didn't do that this year. So I just wrote down the oracle cards I got and a little bit of the feelings around it, so that was really good. So I definitely journal. And then at the end of it, I will close out the ritual by, again, having a space of gratitude. if I do blow out candles, even if it's the tea candles that I've been manifesting with, when I blow them out, I say thank you for helping me manifest this energy. It is done. I'm closing off the ritual. I will, when it comes to tea candles, if I've done a spell with a tea candle, I will not do another spell with that. I always do a fresh tea candle. Like I said, I have my big candle I will use multiple times. So I blow out my big candle, which actually this year I blew out when I finished the burning ritual. I actually lit my intention with that manifesting candle, and I blew out the candle when I was done with that. And then at the end of the ritual, I blew out the little tea candles because I was going to bed and I don't want fire burning, obviously, but they were almost out. And I blew them out with gratitude and saying thank you. I now close this spell. And I usually will leave my altar out for a couple days so I can kind of revisit it a little bit. And so yeah, I just set that up, and then I went about going to bed. And so that's the general idea of that ritual. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below if you'd like me to delve into any of what I said further. And so on New Year's, it's a very similar kind of ritual. A little different in the intention, a little different in, usually what I'm releasing or whatever, but basically the same thing. And I find these to be extremely healing and renewing. I'm not really into setting, like intentions for the year, like New Year's resolutions, because I don't think that's good. I'd more like to set intentions for the energy I want to experience. It's not like I'm going to do X, Y, and Z this year. It's more like, this is what I want to experience. I'm putting it out to the universe to have it come to me, and for me to experience it. So I find it extremely, extremely helpful, and it helps me release all the old energy that doesn't feel good, and or close up whatever things I'm working on, and just really sets me in a new space of feeling and manifesting. And so that's really, really exciting. So again, if you guys want to practice this ritual, definitely feel free. It's an amazing thing. It's pretty simple. I mean, you can literally just sit there and say thank you for the year, and then be like, I'm welcoming the new year. You can pull a card, you can pull 5 cards, you can journal, whatever feels good to you, do that. But this is what I do, and I find it to be extremely helpful. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you have any questions down below, feel free to comment, like this video, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Again, my other social media and shop and all that are down below in the description if you would like to check that out, or if you'd like a personal tarot reading, you can check out all of my offers down at my Etsy shop. Hope you all have a wonderful day, many blessings, namaste, and don't forget, it's all about the soul journey.